Back on the right stand with news just coming through. Exclusive inputs that Arunima is just sharing with us on the Bihar land for job scam that's coming through. It looks like it was being run like a call center and a turnkey project. Zameen do, paisa do, puri training lo, that kind of an aspect that CBI estimates this entire scam could be worth more than 100 crore rupees. At least 16 sets of property documents have been verified which show that land was sold or gifted in lieu of money, and that the entire scam was being run like by a specialized cell setup or a specialized cell setup in Lalu Yadav's residence itself. When he was the railway minister, उनके घर से ये कारोबार चल रहा था. The scam was being run like a turnkey project where all services were provided to aspirants from fake degree to interview training to the actual job, all in lieu of land or cash. Arunima joining us with more details. So it is like a project, full project. That's what she's the information that we have, and it comes to nearly 100 crore rupees. And a lot of this land has been converted into hard cash, and there are at least 16 sets of documents that the CBI now have that point in that particular direction. So it was like, if you give us cash or if you give us zameen, then it's like a turnkey project. आपको बिठाएंगे, fake degree देंगे, interview कराएंगे, job भी दे देंगे, सब कुछ करा देंगे. पैसा दो या cash दो या जमीन दो. Arunima now joins us with more. Yes, Arunima.
The details that are coming out are, of unimaginable lack of fear of law. What investigators have found out is that when job aspirants reached Lalu Prasad Yadav's residence, that's the allegation, there was a complete corporate setup. It was like a call center operating. There were professionals waiting there to scrutinize your qualification and see if you fitted the bill or not. If you did fine, the money would be taken, the land deed would be taken, and your appointment would be processed. If not, they would take it like a turnkey project. That's the terminology being used by the investigators. They say that they would actually get in touch with some schools, provide fake degrees for class 10th or class 12th or whatever qualification was required. Some schools, in fact, have told investigators that they didn't even know that their names were being used. Obviously, these were forged fake degrees or class 10th completion that was being provided. If there was any kind of interview or interaction that was required, these professionals, quote-unquote professionals, were ready to train you for that as well. The tune of the scam is being estimated at 100 crores. Already in 16 cases, in 16 land record cases, a direct linkage has been established between the job aspirant's family and other accused who have been named in the FIR. 250 other such land records are there with the CBI, and 1,000 job aspirants who finally got the job. They are under the scanner, so this could be well worth more than 100 crores.
Well, thank you for your inputs. Big revelation there. CBI has got hard proof now, and they also have proof enough to link that the land was converted into cash, and this cash has found its way somewhere. 100 crores, ladies and gentlemen, 100 crores in this land for job scam. It was all being run from Lalu Yadav's residence. Moving on to the second debate, and what's happening within the Congress party is a question that we've been asking for many years now. But right now, the biggest development is this person, Ghulam Nabi Azad, one of the longest serving members of the Congress party, who's still around at 73, with nearly 47 years with the Congress party since the 70s, has written a 5-page scathing letter. A 5-page scathing letter to Sonia Gandhi, and where he's blamed it all, literally blamed it all on Rahul Gandhi and his coterie, saying it is his behavior, childish, quote-unquote, that's what he's called it, when he tore the ordinance that led to the debacle in 2014, and thereafter, he's the one who quits in a huff but still runs the party via remote control. Him and his PA and security guard. All of this is made part of the letter, not my figment of imagination. That's exactly what Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad has written. Let's try and see. So even as they're hunting for a new president, Ghulam Nabi Azad has called it out, saying that it's just a proxy and it's a sham again. That's what he said. List prepared by a coterie that runs the AICC, he has said. It's a sham process. And he says hand-picked lieutenants coerced to sign these lists. Electoral roll has not been published at all. Nominations have not been invited. And no polling booth set up or elections have been held. So what kind of a process is this? AICC leadership is perpetrating a giant fraud on the entire party. Then he's also looked at what has he said. As he dumps the party, what is the consequence? Senior G23 leader quits, party not serious on reforms. Because this G23 said our mandate is reforms. But now they are all revolting one by one. No inner party democracy. Gandhi supporters are attacking the dissenters. GNA ka DNA modified, says Mr. Jairam Ramesh. sends message to other dissenters, no real change, quit if you want. Jo dar gaya wo azad hai. That's what Rahul Gandhi has been quoted saying today. A loss seen as one of the tallest leaders across the party lines. He's somebody who commands respect. A former chief minister of Jammu and Kashmir. He joined the party when Congress was literally a pariah in Jammu and Kashmir. That's when he joined the party. Former CM of Jammu and Kashmir is experienced, mass leader, but does he have that current kind of currency? Is the Coterie really running the Congress is the question that we ask. Let's dive into the debate as the hashtag is Azad quits Congress. Mr. Dilip Cherian, founder Perfect Relations, and Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, author and journalist, is also with us at this point. Let's go to them. Namaste, gentlemen. Dilip Cherian ji, is there a coterie that is running the Congress party? How much merit would you give, weight would you give to Ghulam Nabi Azad's words?
I think that there's no doubt that Mr. Azad is what I call the quintessential insider. Probably nobody knows the inner workings of the Congress party as well as Mr. Azad does. There are two reasons for this. One, he is essentially an organization man. And number two, he has linkages across the length and breadth of the country. So he understands what's going on in the party in its nooks and crannies. So would I give credibility to that? The answer is yes, I would. Because unlike a lot of other leaders, this is a man who knows what he's talking about, and therefore what he says is bound to have bigger impact and higher credibility.
There is also the aspect of respect and being humiliated. Now, they say that somebody who was termed as Azad Bhai then became Ghulam Nabi ko chai la ke do. So that was the change in tone and tenor as the leadership or the mantle also shifted. So how much of that carries weight, Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay? Or would you say that ab bhav kam ho gaya to bo maar rahe? That means he's making a noise, shouting.
You know, I was a bit surprised at the timing of Mr. Azad's resignation. In fact, I had been expecting it much earlier. We've really not been having any clear answers as to why he delayed the resignation till all this while. There have been a spate of resignations over the past few years. Possibly, Mr. Azad was waiting to complete 50 years in the Congress. I am told that today is exactly the day in 1972 that he joined the Congress party. So maybe he just wanted to mark, a personal milestone and then move on. But, we also have to understand that in these 50 years, at least 18 years have been spent when Rahul Gandhi has been part of the Congress. Rahul Gandhi in 2024 would complete 2 decades in Parliament. A lot of points which he is making in the letter, Rahul Gandhi infamously tearing up a UPA government's bill. Mr. Azad was very much part of the ruling coterie. That's what we are talking about then. The paradox is that we have at the moment, we see that a leader who does not want to lead, yet does not want to take responsibility of leading, yet definitely is not willing to shed control. You have a leader who's resigning, who's actually really speaking a non-electable. We all know that he's come from Jammu and Kashmir, but he's never won a popular parliamentary election from Jammu and Kashmir. The 2 times that he's been in Lok Sabha, way back in 1980 and 84, were from Washim, Maharashtra. And that too, one election courtesy Indira Gandhi, her decision that you go and contest there, after which she made him a deputy minister because she required somebody to represent from Kashmir. That is the beginning of real trouble in Kashmir. Under Indira Gandhi, the early 80s is when the rot really sets in.
Right.
And Ghulam Nabi Azad representing Kashmir is very much part of it. 84, he again contests from Maharashtra. That is an election which is actually the, Indira Gandhi, as the martyred Indira Gandhi is the one who was the campaigner. So really speaking, I do not know that what was Mr. Azad really bringing into the party except quote unquote a lot of respectability.
But he's
The
also been,
Congress party,
he's presided over a lot of the Congress organization, especially when electoral victories have happened, not personally for him, but for the party. That's what many people say.
The real paradox is that prior to the G23, Mr. Sibal, Kapil Sibal stepping out, Ghulam Nabi Azad today, there have been a lot of people who were identified as the Rahul group, Jyotiraditya Scindia, RPN Singh, Jitendra Prasad, Jitin Prasad, my mistake.
Pradyot Burman.
A lot of them. And at that time, they said that the old coterie is not allowing us to function. So you have the old coterie versus the new coterie. The problem is that coterie is actually an endemic problem of the Congress.
So coterie always was there. Some people are old coterie, some are new coterie. Exactly. So then there is a tussle between the two, and that's where it's happening. But this is not healthy, Dilip Cherianji. Can the Congress current leadership, or let's say Rahul Gandhi and his team, can they brazen it out by saying, oh, Sachin, it is not the time for Sachin Tendulkar or Sunil Gavaskar and Kapil Dev. It is Virat Kohli, and Rahul Gandhi is the Virat Kohli. That's exactly what Manikyam Tagore said. So these people are done. They should retire hurt now. Can they brazen it out like that?
I don't think that it's a matter of age and ageism at this point of time. It's a matter of commitment to the party, and Mr. Azad's, I think, commitment to the party has never been in question. Also, while he may not have had a huge track record of personal electoral victories, he has at least led the Congress to victory in 6 states. But is this a good time to lose people? The answer is the kind of exits that you've seen are damaging for any party. I think that Mr. Azad's letter says it quite correctly, that it is more a need for Congress Jodo rather than Bharat Jodo. And I think that the other thing is, it is not a matter of coteries versus coteries, because Mr. Azad has been part of multiple coteries over the years, starting with Indiraji. And at that time, he was seen as Sanjay Gandhi's coterie. So this is a man who is adept at inner party workings, and he knows what coterie needs to be allowed to do. But when he says you've left it, not only the post, but you've left the party to security guards and PAs, that is scathing and that is damaging. And this is no time for the Congress party to postpone its internal elections. I think Mr. Azad's real angst is to do with the fact that process is being given the go-by. You cannot suddenly say that for astrological reasons, we want to postpone the presidential election. So I think these are the issues which have been bothering him. And I think these issues cannot be swept under any carpet, irrespective of what attempts are made to belittle him.
Because there can be a counter argument which can say that, yeah, okay, coterie or sycophancy and some of these aspects can be endemic to every political party. It is there in every organizational setup. Let's largely say that, Niranjan Mukherjee. But there has to be a process. When he says that the entire electoral process itself is a sham, there is no election booth, it's a AICC prepared list, there is nobody who can file their own nomination, then it's exactly what repeat of what happened when Rahul Gandhi was made president of the party. And then at that time you had somebody like a Shehzad Poonawala coming out and saying this is a selection, not an election, I can't even file my nomination. So then why go through this entire exercise? Why have this entire charade or sham of democracy at all? That's one question. The other part is, cannot a new leadership decide how things should be done? Cannot Rahul Gandhi and his team decide how they want to take this party forward and take responsibility for it? But is that also really happening?
As far as electoral due processes not being followed, I think this is something which has ailed the Congress party for several decades. It was there right up to the time till the early years of Indira Gandhi, but after 69, very gradually all processes started disappearing. I really do not know, having seen the Congress party elections, internal elections, really have never really seen a very democratic election in the last 4 decades that I have personally kept track of. So we really do not know. And Mr. Azad very well knew that this is the same process which is going to continue, that there will never be a process. My question, which I was flagging, that why wait for so long? Was he really expecting miracles? I don't think so he was expecting miracles, because in 2019, when Rahul Gandhi stepped down, I think it was very clear that he was stepping down, but he was not wanting to take responsibility. What really was not, leaving control of the party. It was always the remote control was in his hand. That was very clear right from the beginning.
Right.
So why not resign in 2019? Okay, you can wait for 6 months. Doesn't happen. 2020. But thereafter, there have been ample opportunities. So, it comes at a time, of course, it comes at a time when you say that Bharat Jodo campaign is Rahul Gandhi instead of Bharat Jodo, Party Jodo, Congress Jodo.
Correct.
That is what the BJP is. Immediately they started saying कि समय की जरूरत है, Congress जोड़ो, ये तो भारत जोड़ने की बात कर रहे हैं. Can't unite the Congress. What is he going to unite in Kavalabad? So there is basically what we are seeing in India, and this is something which we must keep track of, that there has been a general erosion of electoral processes and democratic functioning among all political parties.
Well,
we see that even in the BJP.
We will talk about that at length. I have run out of time, but this entire aspect of Coterie and what's happening within the Congress party, that discussion and debate continues into brass tacks. But Dilip Cherianji and Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, thank you very much. Winding up the right stand on that note.